It's 12:42. It's just basically 1 o'clock. I think today is it's Tuesday, 11th in March. Hello, my friend. Name is Abbas. I'm the elder of Baha'u'llah. With the Baha'i greeting to everyone on the planet. I'm continuing these issues that I've taken up to discuss about Baha'i administration of faith. I've been talking, especially today and the last few days, and maybe in the last 40 years, with a friend of mine who is older than me. He's not elder, but he's older. And we have a lot of discussion, me and him. Sometimes you're afraid of talking in front of people. People, they think we're fighting. We're actually not fighting. That's just a discussion, goes up, the heat. So basically, from what I gathered in my consultation with him, is that these issues that I brought up, it might have divided some of the Baha'is. I don't know, even if it's 10 of them, doesn't matter. I think a few thousands anyways. That they're thinking that, at least this is what it is, that basically I'm a person who's ostracized, a person who's been transgressed, and there's a serious battle between me and universal laws of justice or other Baha'is. Yes, things has happened. For example, I did 20 years ago bought a house in Waterloo for my son that I went with so much difficulty. I took him an admission in the engineering, software engineering, city of Waterloo. But he had to say, "Dad, I can't come because you've been excommunicated." A couple of years ago, I wanted to go to the marriage of my daughter. And she had to speak to some board member in Vancouver, and they told her that your dad cannot come into your marriage. Yeah, there is no doubt that I have suffered, but I don't want to be pansy in this. I've been more suffering in the Baha'i faith, nothing compared to mine, especially among the Iranians. So there's no complaint from that. But these things has happened, and one has to think by himself, how would this Baha'i faith is going to really unite the world when they can't tolerate one of their members, his ideas, his opinions. It is so derogatory to them, although he's referring to the book by saying it, that made to cast him off and excommunicate him. But let me tell you what truly I think. I'm thinking at a time when Universal Laws of Justice, the members 20 years ago, they decided to excommunicate me. I knew a couple of them, like Mr. Fatah Azam. He's in the Abha Kingdom right now. And Don Barnes, the guy, an American doctors, I think. These are excellent people. This is the truth of the matter. I'm sure they were feeling more hurt than me when they had to sentence me that I'm not a Baha'i, I'm the enemy of the Baha'i faith. I have no doubt about that. Some of them could have even cried. I mean, who is to say? I haven't sit down and talked to these people. Certainly you haven't. How can we say these members of Universal Laws of Justice are not Baha'is? They're not getting any money to be there. And these are not handicapped people. They're big, prominent people. Don Barnes was saying that to me 20 years ago. More, 25 years ago maybe, even 30 years ago actually. He said that, I don't know, what have I done to become the member of Universal Laws of Justice? To him it was a punishment. He's a doctor, his wife, same thing. They're not enjoying to be there. And I also appreciate this. That's why I wrote in my letter to them. To be the member of Universal House of Justice, this is the one responsibility. God forgive me. If I would have been there, I would probably quit. Because when I sit among 9 people, that 8 of them are not accepting my ideas, although I bring all the reasons and everything else, and I see 8 people are not reasonable, not in there in any given. So I would say, thank you guys, and I would just have to leave. There's no point for me being here. But if I was the member of Universal House of Justice, I could not leave. I have to sit there and take the heat. For 4 years, for more. I have to pray to God, God, make it that I'm not here anymore. Because people are not listening to me. There could be right now the member of Universal House of Justice, few of them that are agreeing with me, and they're suffering to deal with others. So what is going on is this. These issues between me and the Baha'is and the member of Universal House of Justice or whatever is not a personal matter. Not at all. At any point of time, God forgive me if I have said anything or conveyed my matter in a way that it sounds rude or, disinterested or whatever. I do not mean to harm them or think that I'm better than them or I'm better than anybody who's opposing me somewhere. That's not the case. So in the Baha'i faith, clashes between the personalities are not allowed. But clashes of opinions, it is a must thing that has to happen. I'll read for you. It's in Persian. I couldn't find it in English. In the volume 6 of the writing of Abdul-baha in Persian, number 76, he said, there has to be a means. This is the translation. باید وسیله‌ای شود که آرا و افکار نفوس تبادل و تصادم یافته تا بارقه حقیقت ظاهر شود. He says basically, I'm paraphrasing, there has to be a means, a way, that this opinion and the thought of the people gets exchanged and basically create an accident. This is the word, accident. They have to collide with the collusion and exchange of the ideas. We have to, he says, we have to make this to happen. The collusion of ideas and thought, that, he says, the light of the truth to appear. The light of the truth, Abdul-baha says, it will appear if we have to make a way that this collusion of ideas happens. That's what he says. This is if Shoghi Effendi does not appoint a person after himself to be the guardian, there will be differences into the Baha'is. But because of the differences, we're still Baha'is. This is very important. I am very adamant in this. Another place he says, از تصادم افکار مختلفه جرقه درخشان حقیقت حاصل شود. In اصول دیانت بهایی, page 43. The truth will sparkle out of the accident, out of the collusion, of the ideas together. This is the only way that we will get to the truth. So, in the Baha'i faith, while we cannot judge no one, including ourselves, Baha'u'llah says simply, no one knows what his own end shall be. Therefore, we are not in any position to know anybody is who in front of God. Is he Baha'i? He's not. He's going to hell. He's going to heaven. We don't know. In ourselves. Knowing this, having said that though, we have to fight with the opinions and ideas. Fight, again, don't take it as we're going to start to hit each other. No. You can politely say to a person, I disagree with your opinion because of this and this and that. When do we become arrogant? We stick to an idea without reason. We're not accepting opinion of our friend another human being when there's no idea. If you have no idea, you have to accept it. Tell them that I accept it now till I find a thing to come back and I feel then you're wrong. Until then I have no answer, so I have to accept it. This is a very important, I have to say this, you know, I really feel bad for this a member of the Universal Laws of Justice. Like, they have a lot of headaches. Don't tell me I'm a Baha'i, I've been there and I know it. You don't know, thousands of letters have been sent to them over all kind of issues. Okay? And now, what am I doing here? I'm adding to their frustrations, I'm adding to their work, and I'm adding this. At least that's what they think. So many of you send letter to them, so many of you, you know, showing, and the report goes to there, this and that and that and that. But one point is very important. You know why am I alive today here? It's because of the Universal Laws of Justice, it's because of the National Spiritual Assembly of Canada. There are some Persian Baha'is here, I'm not saying Canadian, that they would kill me. They would have killed me by now many times over. They could have put 1 kilo heroin on the back of my car and send me to the cops. They can come back and say, you raped this one, you took the money from that, anything. You know what's preventing this? The same National Spiritual Assembly of Canada and especially Universal Laws of Justice. Their policy is that if a person comes with this opinion, just leave him to himself. Okay? If he's wrong, the very wrong he's attached to, that's his punishment. That's what Bob says. The fulfillment of the wish of the bad people, it is their hell. When a person is on drug, let's say, on heroin, what is his wish? To have more money, so to buy more. What happens? Then he'll die. So, as we say in English, you know, watch what you wish for. So, therefore, Baha'i faith, as it is, the Baha'i organization as it is the most civilized institution on the planet Earth. If I was saying this thing to the government of Iran in Iran, I would be on the gallows several times over. If I say this in China, even in Canada, if I go against the Constitution, seriously, every day, and I start to have people create a revolution, they'll come after me, even in Canada. That is what I'm doing with the Universal Laws of Justice, with the Baha'is. But they're controlling the situation, because we do not kill a person because of the difference of his opinion. We don't attack him. Okay. In their cases, they feel that, many of them actually, they feel very bad for me. They say he's a man with a lot of feeling, with a lot of sentiment, with a lot of honesty. He's just going through a big test. That's what they say about me. He's going through a big test. God is testing him. And even they pray for me. I personally know that. So I wanted to clarify that what's happening here between me and them should not be taken as I versus administration. There's no such things. So this is nothing to do with the people. It is got to do with the system. But then the system. Who has made this system? Baha'u'llah, Shoghi Effendi, Abdul-baha. It is their system. Well, I say it's not, but he appointed hands of the cause of God, 27 of them, not just one. And these are seriously prominent individuals. So they get together from all over the world, and they felt that there's nothing else they can do. For the protection of the faith, they have to have this institution of the Universal Laws of Justice. God is like that, my friends. I work with him. His most important things for him is the free will. When you do something out of your free will, he calls it pure. But if you're influenced by somebody else, you learn from him or something, it's not original to God. You see. The institution, the revelation of God, is an spiritual institution for the ascendancy of the soul of man. What do you expect? When he reveals so many books, when 4 teachers from Bob to Shohei Effendi come, don't you guys think that he should conduct some test? So where we are? Of course, that was the test. The best of us, hands of the cause of God, to be given the task. To me, they passed the test. Based on what was in their hand, there was no other way except formation of universal laws of justice, or the Baha'i faith would have been around 20 different versions going around. There are some versions right now. They call themselves whatever, Unitarian or this or that. They have no numbers, they have no organization, they're dismal. They look big, they're not really. Baha'is are together, but they're stagnant. They're not going. So whose fault is this? Fault of God? Is not the fault of God, but it is the work of God. He wants us to have these differences. Abdul-baha says so. It's allowed. The permission is issued by him in case of no successor from Shohei Effendi. There have differences. Well, then there is. One of them is me, and there is more. So what's going to happen here is this. It's like everything else. First, we made a car, wasn't working very well, it didn't have brake, it didn't have this and that. Then we threw it out and they improved it. Baha'i faith is different from any other religions in 2 things. That is seriously different from anything that the planet Earth has brought. Only Karl Marx says that in the economical regime. He says these are the historical necessities. He says that the capitalism would have to become socialist. A socialist would have to become communist. He says this is what it is. There's no other way. And he explains it. The second one that has said this idea is in the Baha'i faith. Abdul-baha says in the Some Answered Question, the faith of God, the revelation of God, is revealed based on the necessities of mankind. So God is ruling us by our necessities. He comes and says, by the way, there's a fantastic, beautiful fountain of water behind that mountain. They say, go away, till we run out of water. Many of us dies. Some of us finally says, let's go. We'll go and find it. Then we know he was right. This is how it works in the Baha'i. There's no dictator. The dictator is us. We have to dictate ourselves not to do these things. Okay? He has not appointed another person to tell me what to do. Okay? Universal laws of justice is not there to tell us what to do. He's only an station for God to convey his messages to us, and if we have questions, to get it from them. It's infallible. Something that it is impossible at this time for me to explain to you. How does it work? Because this one is not infallible. Because this version is one version of the universal laws of justice that is basically equipped with the means to stop divisions among the Baha'is. Yes, they are equipped with that. Okay? But they're not equipped to do other things because the time hasn't come. How do we create a house of legislation when there are no followers? Without a Baha'i court to implement those laws, put it in action. We don't have it yet. We are pretty much at the theoretical stage. It's like a theory. So I have read the faith of God at this time when God says, okay, you guys can't do it. It's 50 years past. You couldn't solve the problem, and he's watching. He says, okay, I'm going to send a bus to give you a hand. That's all it is. But this is not a contest. I'm not here suffering every day, feeling that, okay, I've been wronged, I've been transgressed. No way. To be honest with you, I will not last more than 1 hour in the meeting with them. I will leave. To me, these discussions are fast. Has to come. We are here, we're there, and that's it. Go. You want to accept it, accept it. There's no other way after that. But they have to be there at their age, these poor guys. They have to keep talking. What do we do about it? What do we not to do? One person feels wrong or bad for the other person. So I am not being wronged by them, not at all. I've accepted the mission. Perhaps I could do it, or God would not give it to me. And because of that, I have not any problem really. I am so detached from it, you don't know how detached I am. To me, the principle of detachment, one day I like to talk about divine psychology in the Baha'i faith. The two stage when we say Baha'u'llah says be detached, 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 we hear this, you know. It really boils down to two things. Can you physically be detached from the person you love? If you can be detached from sex, from sexual partner, this has caused a lot of emotion, commotion among the people. Be detached from it if you want to be clean, mentally okay. Number two, this is in the physical realm. In the spiritual realm, be detached from your opinion. Be detached from your ideas. But we are not. It's like two things. I give you an example. We should be like a DVD, rewritable ones. We put some movie on it, we watch it, we delete it, we put a new one on. But many of us are not like this. The DVD in our head, the idea goes in it, there is no way to use it anymore. We are not rewritable brains. It sticks to us, worse than any glue. We think if we let go of this idea, we have no dignity, we are nobody then, la la la. Can we not learn from scientists? 2 times Albert Einstein apologized. He said, I was stupid that I thought the world is static. Can you get bigger than him on the world of science? He apologized. I am telling you in front of you, the conclusion I have come is because of what I have seen. But if tomorrow there's some tablets from Abdul-baha, from Baha'u'llah, from Shoghi Effendi, in fact it has to be from Shoghi Effendi because he's the last one, that he comes and says something else, that elders will come after 1,000 years, after 500 years. Elders are this. There is no elder. Universal laws of justice does not need the institution of guardianship. It can be infallible without institution of guardianship. Somebody was telling me that, oh, there is a place that universal laws of justice is infallible without having the institution of guardianship beside it. Very wrong. That does not exist. Universal laws of justice can function without the institution of guardianship to the matter that pertains to them without being participated with them. But the function of universal laws of justice, which is legislations, giving opinions, sentencing, they do need the institution of guardianship. Shoghi Effendi says, I am not allowed to join when they're voting for something. I cannot participate in that. I cannot do the Constitution of Universal Laws of Justice by myself, it says. However, it says, I will insist if I see what's been legislated is outside of the Baha'i faith, I would insist to change it. Well, okay, there's no Shoghi Effendi, so what do? We have a different phase of guardianship. In the first phase, Shoghi Effendi is himself is the member of Universal House of Justice. He's member by life. He cannot be voted out by people. He can veto the legislation of Universal House of Justice. That's rather stupid, because how could you have two infallible to be beside each other? It doesn't work. That's totally unacceptable. At the time when Bob comes and says, I'm the Prophet, Baha'u'llah cannot say at the same time. He has to wait. So the writing of Baha'u'llah says, follow the Bob. When Bob dies, Baha'u'llah says, now is my time. When he is around, Abdul-baha never says, I am the interpreter or in charge. When Baha'u'llah passed away, then Abdul-baha is in charge. And after Abdul-baha, Shoghi Effendi. So if Shoghi Effendi is infallible, how can he be infallible and Universal House of Justice be infallible and together be together? That's impossible. He has to go in order to have the Universal House of Justice, if you want it to be infallible. If it is formally done, it cannot be infallible. So, but there is a different definition of guardianship, which he has created a building called Darul Walayah, and he says it is not the center of interpreters, because there is no interpreters, no one can be called interpreters, but it is the center of the interpretation, which means the action and responsibility should be followed, can be followed, while the members are not called interpreters or guardian. Just like Universal House of Justice. He carries out the responsibility of Baha'u'llah in enacting the infallible rules, but the members are not called Prophet of God. They're just like us. Okay? So this is a system that Baha'u'llah has created. He knows how he put things together that people can become infallible. And it is not conditioned upon that the people that are getting elected are the number ones. I'm so sorry to say that if 5 prostitutes are elected by the Baha'is of war to be the member of the guardianship, and 9 pimps are elected to be the member of the Universal House of Justice, this can't be anything worse than this. It's just imaginary situation, but I'm going to extreme in giving this example. Even if this happens, still the 2 houses are infallible. How can that it work? It's just like God does it every day. Look at the salt that you have. He takes chlorine, which is a total poison, and he gets sodium, which is a total poison. He mixes it together, you eat it as salt. He knows how to put these things together, just like an engineer, that he will create an infallible state of humanity. Don't doubt it. I know how it works. But you have to follow the manufacturer's guidance in assembling it. This is not something that we can repair. Okay? We cannot repair it. We have not made it. We don't know how is it made. We know it works. We don't know how does it work. Human repair is all Euclidean. This is a non-Euclidean. This is natural. Okay? It's not mechanical. It's organic. We can't fix it. The reason Baha'u'llah is infallible is not because he's not making mistakes. It's not because his hearing is not as good as horse hears better than Baha'u'llah. Monkey definitely jumps better than Baha'u'llah. Bird can fly, he can't. Us, we people, Einstein knows much more physics than Baha'u'llah. Ron Brown can paint better than Baha'u'llah. But they're not Baha'u'llah. Yet. Why? Baha'u'llah is a different species. It's not human like you and I. We think to know. He doesn't. He's like a computer, he just processes. When you ask him the question, answer is already there. Boom, it comes out. Thinking is for us. He doesn't think because he knows everything. But he himself doesn't know everything. Computer doesn't know, computer knows everything. But when you ask the computer a question, computer answers, then computer also knows that he knows the answer. It's a very strange things. You're dealing with a different species. Because of that, he's Baha'u'llah. And I told you why. Because nobody in the earth has prophesied by all the books that he's coming at that time. There's no evolutionary pattern in his talk and writing. He's 18 years old, he talks the same way that he's 90 years old. You cannot say he's older here. He's become better, his writing is nicer, same thing. There's no evolutionary pattern. He can take pressure like none of us can. Just ask yourself, who in the planet at the level of Bill Gates is willing to give entire money to the last penny and then tell him, all right, it's not over. Now you have to go to jail and put a chain around his neck. Don't give him even a shoe and tell him walk in the snow. He gets arthritis for the rest of his life until he dies. Just not Nelson Mandela, because he says, I will get and I will win. He did one. Gandhi, he wanted to get separation. He did. Baha'u'llah knows he's not going to get there at his time. So there's not going to be any happiness for him of any kind of victory or something. Because his victory is not that anyways. His victory is something else. So this is a different revolutionary. It's a revolutionary Baha'u'llah. But this life is nothing for him. He has many, many billions of this after we die. He's thinking about the other side. The balance between the souls and material is imbalanced, and he comes out. He has to create souls with a background, a spiritual background, that they can go there to help us, the people here. So many mysteries is involved, but he's infallible. So we cannot apply mathematics in the religion, in the philosophy. What do? Mathematics, we know, there's no fight. 2 plus 2 is 4. How am I going to bring some of my ideas better than others? It's because there is an infallible soul behind it. He says, man and woman, only one wife, one husband. You can't have two, he says. Now, he doesn't decide this for us. He has discovered this for us. He says, this is where it goes. He says, you cannot go on without an international government, because your armament is using all of these metals in the world. It's all tanks and arms. You're fighting the wrong front. You have to fight the Mother Nature who's destroying the planet, the disease, and this and that. He says that. We're telling him no, but Baha'u'llah is very polite. He's such a great liberator, real Democrat. He says, okay, I'm in the back. Please, go ahead, do it. No force. Because he is based on his ideas, based on the natural necessity. So this is where this battle, if there is a battle of mind and thought with universal laws of justice, is based on this. I know there is no other way, because the writing says this. Somebody says, well, this is your concept, this is what you have. All right, there's 7 million of you, including universal laws of justice. Bring it on. As Bob says, هل من مبارز يبارزني? Is there anyone that wants to challenge me? Come over. Put it on the YouTube, put it in television, put it in an actual court in Canada. Bring your lawyers, bring those who know it. Come and prove that I'm not an elder. I will take the pattern as Baha'u'llah, as Jesus Christ and Moses, the prophet of God. I'm not claiming I'm a prophet, but I tell you that based on that, what I have produced, I am the elder. That's it. I will go with the court of the opinions. Bring it over. But maybe universal laws of justice is kinder than you and I think. They know I'm an elder. They want to help me. They know things I don't know. They probably say it's not time right now. If we bring these things up, Abbas, there will be more upheaval. There will be more problem. That's pretty hard to say to me these things, you know. You can't just sympathize. We follow Baha'u'llah. This is it. His writings are there. Shoghi Effendi's writings are there. Solutions are there. That's our mathematics. That's the criteria we use. These statements are the statement of the truth. We as a Baha'i, we're not disputing it. And it's not an area that you need to dispute. It's not open for discussion. When he says there has to be an international court to prelude universal laws of justice, that's the end of it. There has to be one. There hasn't been one. Okay, then this cannot be that universal laws of justice. Universal laws of justice is supposed to serve many, many purposes. This one has served the purpose of unity among the Baha'is, but it is not able to feed and nurture the Baha'is spiritually, and they're falling apart from everywhere. So, but while I'm sitting here, I'm not saying their task is easier than me. Every time those 9 to get together, the first time 30 years ago, 25 years ago, whatever, they get together to see that I'm not an elder. I asked them to say I'm not elder, I will leave. Those 9, they couldn't get together to come to the point that I am not an elder. They said we can't say. So they let it go. They put it in the hand of National Assembly is not infallible. They decided I'm out, kick me out. So they basically made me to hit them and do some action. Because of that, they can say I'm not a Baha'i. But I haven't published any books or anything to claim anything against the existing system. I'm just amending it. That's all I'm doing. But the word is I am amending is wrong, because then I become sort of a leader. And the final things I have to mention here. I am no leader of a single Baha'i in the planet. Any Baha'i who's taking me as leader, he's gone wrong. I'm not leader, I'm an elder. I'm like Aristotle to teach Alexander how to rule, which is universal laws of justice. As a Baha'i, as a person, I'll bring more ideas. But if people somewhere in the world, they read my writing and they get infatuated with my poetry, they say, this is from God. Sure it is. That God is not me. It's Baha'u'llah. I'm just a radio, bring his voice out, his will out. At no time I'm any different from anybody else. And why am I here and you are not here? It's as simple as that. People have different talents. If Baha'u'llah wants to send somebody to France, and if all of 100 people sitting there and they are not knowing French, he would have to choose the person who's French, although he's not the best. But he's relevant. I'm the relevant person for him. I have no fear from nothing. Zero fear. Doesn't matter what you do to me. You cannot threaten me. If the entire planet becomes a bullet to shoot to me, I will not move an inch. Let it come. Let it hit me. Behind me is not government of America or Canada or I don't know, KGB. It's the kingdom of Baha'u'llah. You don't believe in it, but I know him. There's no way, nothing in the planet can do anything. Even germs cannot kill me. Until the time comes when he has no use for me, I could just walk off the door and just put my step on a wrong step and I fall down and I die. That's simple. But not until the time comes. I am badly looking for a replacement, so I can tell him, hey, there's another one. I feel like Prometheus, holding this big planet on my back. It's not very easy. But it seems my mentality is detached from these things. To me, the whole thing is fun. I'm having fun doing it. I'm sorry if you're suffering. It's because your ideas attach to you and you're suffering. Don't be. Be detached from all your ideas. Your ideas are made, your concept. It's not you. Change your brain. Make it rewritable. Throw it out and put the new ones in. So I think, I don't want to continue to talk too much, but I think the matter is clear. That Abdul-baha, he says that we should create a situation so that we can discuss You know, we have these collusions of ideas. Do not be afraid of verbal fight. That's okay. Do not insult. Do not get angry. Remember, the person in front of you who doesn't know, he will know tomorrow. You may go to hell, he might go to heaven. The very person who's repudiating you. I feel sorry for the person who sent me an email and tells me, shut up. Okay. I'm the general of God. If it was not my responsibility, I would behead you. I'd decapitate you in a second. I don't know who I am. But I'm under his command right now. My name is Abbas, means fearless. But I'm under his command. I am the bulldog of Baha'u'llah. He tells me that, stop. However you want to put it. I'm detached from his opinions. The whole thing, even entire Baha'i faith even, is useless when you die. Nobody talks about Baha'i faith when they die. It's the curriculum in the school. When you get out of the school, you go to work as an engineer, as a doctor. You don't talk about mathematics or, you know, any of those things. Your job is completely irrelevant. You have become, when you die, you have become what you have decided to be. You wrote the file. That's who you are. This Baha'i faith is useless. All of it is a means of communication. A way we can solve the problem. It's a highway so you can drive easier without, you know, accident to other people. That's what Baha'i faith is. But God upstairs, or in here, sitting here, is very detached. And He loves that we have our own willpower, and He likes us to assemble ideas out of His religion, out of His food, out of His factory in the nature, as we do. We create a Toyota. Now we have to create an ideology based on what He has revealed for us, so we can live together with peace. Okay. Very well. Allahu Akbar, Baha'i says.